of the Korean Peninsula. And what North Korea wants is the security of its regime. And to start with that, North Korea is asking the U.S. to first declare the end to the Korean War, and the U.S. is asking North Korea to declare the nuclear assets and program it has.
So their starting points are very different. That's the big problem here.
Yes. And I think neither of them is budging right now because they both have different definition of what the declaration of the end of the Korean War means. So North Korean leader Kim Jong-Un told South Korean special envoy in their last visit that the declaration to end the Korean War only has the diplomatic meaning. It's only a diplomatic declaration which helps Washington and Pyongyang build trust. But that's not how the U.S. thinks. What the U.S. thinks is that though it may not be legally binding, it could have far-reaching repercussions, including the withdrawal of UN command and U.S. troops in the South. So if that's what U.S. thinks North Korea eventually wants, it's obviously not going to let that happen until North Korea takes specific and more concrete steps towards denuclearization. But what North Korean leader Kim Jong-un also said is that declaring an end to the Korean War would not weaken the U.S. and South Korea alliance or lead to the withdrawal of U.S. troops in the South. But what U.S. constantly is repeating is that they will not declare any peace treaty or end to the Korean War unless North Korea takes more concrete actions on abandoning its nuclear weapons. And that's why North Korea and the U.S. are currently at a stalemate. And
President Moon's role as a mediator is very important at this time. And that's why we said earlier that President Moon faces his toughest challenge yet. And this, hopefully the third time will be the charm. But at this moment in time, it seems that President Moon has a lot on his shoulders because, like we said, they are at two different starting points here.
Yes, the one thing though I want to point out this time is that even though the denuclearization is very important and we want to hear from Chairman Kim's mouth that he's going to follow this step for the direction of denuclearization of North Korea, but given that there's a possibility that North Korea and the United States has a second summit very soon, and President Trump and the State Department already insinuate the possibility. That means that there's less motivation, less incentive for Chairman Kim to talk about denuclearization with our president. So even though we hope that there is much progress made by our president and Kim Jong-un, but even if we didn't hear any concrete message from Kim Jong-un, we should not be saying that this summit is failure. So this is the part of the process. So we have to see that even if we didn't get any concrete message from Kim Jong-un this time, but we have to remember that this is a part of process. So as long as our president is trying to persuade Kim Jong-un into the right direction, so Kim Jong-un can meet President Trump again, and if something good happens there, I think this summit is still very meaningful.
Right, but then I feel like that President Trump, he actually has a lot in stake right now with the midterm elections in the U.S. coming up and all. So he needs something to show his country that he is doing something as a peace mediator, I guess, that he's the one who will be able to end the nuclear war on the Korean Peninsula. But, I guess things didn't really work out the way that he envisioned after that Singapore summit with Kim Jong-un. But I feel like after today's summit, depending on this week's summit between President Moon and Kim Jong-un, I feel like there are chances that President Trump might not meet with North Korean leader Kim Jong-un, depending on what comes out of this week.
Even though it's very difficult for us to expect that there's a concrete message from Kim Jong-un about its nuclear weapons, but I'm almost sure that Kim Jong-un is not going to say any negative things about the negotiation with the United States on its nuclear weapons. So when Secretary Pompeo canceled his most recent visit at the end of August, that there was a concern that North Korea might pull back from the dialogue with the United States. But with our special envoy's visit to Pyongyang, we confirmed that North Korea is still interested in having talks with the United States. That means that it's in North Korea's interest to continue to have dialogue with the United States. That means that North Korean leader is not going to say anything negative for the negotiation with the United States. So I think that even if we don't get any concrete positive message, but at the same time, we are not going to get the negative message from North Korean leader Kim Jong-Un.
Right, I kind of agree with that because, in a sense, we know that Moon's special envoy to North Korea, Jong-Un, when he was in Pyongyang this month, right? He said that Mr. Kim reaffirmed his commitment to denuclearize. So, in a sense, we're a little bit confused. I mean, where is this going, right? I mean, he's saying he's willing to denuclearize. He even mentioned a timeline we heard from our special envoy that Mr. Kim plans to, go ahead with this denuclearization process before Trump's first term ends, right? So this was the first time that North Korea has actually put forth a timeline as well, which kind of raised hopes that perhaps things will get back on track. But obviously, Mr. Moon, our president, has a lot on his shoulders, and a lot of eyes are on what's going to come out. Although you said that, Dr. Wu, you said that you don't expect anything concrete to come out this time, meaning that perhaps you're expecting something vague to come out than just specific detailed measures, I guess?
Since our special envoy briefed the media and the public that Chairman Kim Jong-un mentioned that he's willing to denuclearize by the end of President Trump's first term, which is the end of 2020.
Right.
So maybe this time there's a possibility that Kim Jong-un publicly confirmed that message. So that's a good sign that North Korean leader mentioned the timeline of denuclearization by himself. But the remaining question is how to achieve it.
Okay.
So probably we are not going to hear about that how part. But since he already mentioned the 2020 through our special envoy already, I think there's a possibility that he can mention that timeline again with President Moon in this visit.
All right, Jong-Un, kind of shifting away our focus a little bit. Can you tell us more about the schedule for others during the first round of the summit involving our first ladies, business members, special entourage?
Sure. So, like you said a while ago, the first round of summit between North Korean leader Kim Jong-un and South Korean President Moon Jae-in for this round of summit will begin later in the afternoon today at 3:30 and will last until about 5 p.m. And while that is happening, the first ladies of the two Koreas will be spending some time together.
Okay.
Now, they met for the first time back in April. That's when the Panmunjom Declaration was signed. But it wasn't long. It was only 3 hours, as it was right after the declaration was signed and during the whole dinner farewell event. And while that was also significant, their meeting in North Korea is also significant, as it is the first time the first ladies of the two Koreas will be meeting in the north. Now, former first ladies of South Korea also visited the north, namely our Lee Hee-ho, who is the wife to the late President Kim Dae-jung, and Kwon Yang-suk, who is the wife to the late President Roh Moo-yeon. They went to the north with their husbands in 2000 and 2007 respectively, but as Kim Jong-un's father, Kim Jong-il, never really disclosed his wife in public, the meeting between the first ladies never actually happened. And to briefly tell you about where these former first ladies went. They went to kindergarten in Pyongyang, and they also met with female representatives and visited Korean Central History Museum and the Grand People's Study House. And Lee Hee-ho, First Lady Lee Hee-ho, even met her high school math teacher who was living in Pyongyang.
Oh, is that right?
Yes, that was something very interesting. But this time, I think we're going to have a schedule that's even more interesting because the South Korean First Lady will be accompanied by the North Korean First Lady. And we have a number of places that they will be visiting. One of them is the Ongnu Children's Hospital, which was built in 2013, and it caters specifically to children and nursing mothers. And it is one of the hospitals in the north with the best technology and the best facilities. And using those facilities, such as the web cameras, the doctors at the